Eu sou professor de filosofia. Gostaria muito, particularmente, saber se a posição do senhor, qual foi a ideia de escrever o mundo de Sofia como um ato de filosofar. Porque nas primeiras páginas, Sofia ela tem um espanto. E esse ato de filosofar levou à curiosidade. Então, qual foi a intenção do senhor em querer escrever o mundo de filosofia, conduzindo uma pessoa a ter esse ato de filosofar?
Okay, I'm firmly convinced that we are born curious. Children ask questions. Why does the elephant have such a long nose? Why do the stars twinkle, And the mother or father is saying, please, now you have to shut up. You have to go to bed. If not, mother or father will be angry, like that. Now, when I was teaching philosophy for grown-up 19, 20 years old students, I felt I had to wake the curiosity. I started the first 2 lessons always only by asking questions, kind of to wake up this curiosity. So I said, for this lesson and for the next lesson, we don't do anything except asking questions. I asked questions, and I estimated my students also to ask questions. And then I think I stimulated the interest in the subject of philosophy. Of course, before we confront ourselves with answers, we should confront ourselves with the questions. Questions are always progressive. Answers may be reactionary. Let me give 2 examples only. You remember the story by H.C. Andersen, The Naked Emperor. No, it is indoctrination saying that the emperor has beautiful clothes, but actually he's naked. And all people believe that he has these clothes they cannot see. Only the child is asking, why is the emperor naked? Now, I met a similar situation. I met at a conference, world conference, an American woman. She had a 6-year-old daughter, and the daughter had listened to a speech made by President George Bush Jr. And he made his speech and ended, as always, by saying, God bless America. Then the 6-year-old girl turned to her mother and said, why is the president saying God bless America? Why doesn't he say God bless the world? Now, that is a good question. And a good question may be more challenging and even more dangerous for people in power than any answer. So for me, the whole story of philosophy in my experience, and the story then of the beginning of Sophie's World are the questions. And the book Sophie's World starts by 2 questions given to Sophie. The first is, who are you? And the second is, where does the world come from? And I think both these 2 questions are basic.
Uma pergunta, uma curiosidade. Como professor, o senhor dava aula de qual período ou quais autores? Qual a sua especialidade em filosofia? Como professor de filosofia na universidade? O senhor não dá mais aula de...
This is a very good question, because it's not at all a coincidence that Sophie's World is written by a Norwegian author. Because in Norway, all students in any academia, whatever they are studying, medicine, law, language, religion, whatever, they have to do the same course in the history of philosophy. So it's the history. Now, Sophie's World is a reflex of how all young academic students in Norway have to pass, before they enter the... And this is an old tradition. It's an heritage from the Middle Age, actually. The only thing is that only in Norway and Poland, we have kept this tradition of this. In Latin, it was called septem artes liberales, the 7 free arts. When I was young, if I needed to have a doctor in my home, the doctor and me, when I was young, we could make some jokes about Plato or Aristotle, or because we had both passed the same curriculum in the history of philosophy.
Okay.
Boa noite, meu nome é Larissa. Eu queria fazer 2 perguntas. A primeira é como você constrói seus personagens. Você se baseia, por exemplo, a Sofia, os personagens do Dia do Coringa. Você se baseia em alguém que você conhece para construir esse personagem, ou é totalmente construído na ficção? E a outra pergunta é sobre a filosofia e o papel da filosofia e da reflexão no cotidiano das pessoas. Como o senhor vê a filosofia no cotidiano das pessoas e se a filosofia devia ser um exercício diário de reflexão na cozinha das pessoas, na sala, em qualquer encontro de amigos, ou se devia estar realmente fechada dentro das universidades.
Maybe I should take the last question first. I think that philosophy is very basic for human existence. I think we are born philosophers. I mean, one of the first words children are using is the word why. Aristotle, the Greek philosopher, said that philosophy was born because of man's curiosity. And we are born curious. It's just like, in my country, often parents take a newborn baby to a swimming pool, and they throw the newborn baby into the swimming pool, not to drown it, but to practice what we call baby swimming, because we are born in water. We are the ability to behave in water is inborn. It just has to be kept tended, so that we don't have to go to these stupid swimming schools when we are 10 years old, And the same I would say about philosophy. I mean, in a way, philosophy is not so important for children. It's important for us adults to help children to keep tended this curious mind, Often, adults, parents, and teachers feels annoyed by all the questions, Shut up, they say, But we should estimate people. So for me, philosophy doesn't have to be academic. I firmly believe that a clear, simple thought can be formulated very, very clearly, very understandable. So I believe very much. Then you asked about how I shape the characters. You mentioned Sophie's World, and the other title you mentioned was... Yes. Dia de Coringa first. I have 2 sons. When I wrote Dia de Coringa, my son was at the same age as the boy in the book. It was very much a father and a son story, And why? Well, because a lot of literature at that time was mother and daughter stories, I felt that now I would like to write a father and a son story. Then I have no daughters. So when I wrote about Sophie, it was my first daughter. I have another one in the book called A Través do Espelho. I'm even more close to her as a father, you know. Today I have a granddaughter. I mean, a physical granddaughter, so that is different. Anyway, but I have one of the most amusing, funny questions I have is the question, why is the protagonista, the heroine of Sophie's World, a girl? My first answer is always, why not? And sometimes I inform people that in Norway we only have 2 sexes. So it had to be either a girl or a boy. And, well, but then in that specific book it had to be a girl. Why? Why? Because Sophia, it means wisdom. It's a Greek word. It's a female concept. Sapientia in Latin and Sophia. Philosophy means the desire for wisdom. The eros for wisdom for Sophia. And then you may of course ask, why then is wisdom considered to be a female characteristic?
Por quê?
It's a good question. But I don't know, but I have a theory. My theory is that for women, for girls, it's often important to try to understand something which philosophy is about. As for men, it's often more important to be understood, which is the opposite of philosophy.